How do we train our mind? Well, first we have to train our habits. We have to see very clearly from the point of view of Buddhism what we are is just our habits. Now most of our habits are not in accordance with happiness. So we have to develop those real habits that bring happiness. What are the good habits that bring happiness? You have mentioned meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, developing the good attitudes, habits, love, compassion, joy, equanimity. Then also live in a more healthy way, eat more healthy food, have more healthy attitudes, have more critical attitude to oneself, less to others, have more tolerance to others, but be more strict with yourself, more disciplined with yourself. And if you work like this, nothing will prevent you from enjoying more your life. Now we are, most of us, because we live in a society where it's not so difficult to fill the belly, but we live in a society where it is very difficult to fill the mind. So in a way we are very privileged. We don't need to struggle so hard to fill the belly. We should try more hard to fill the mind. This is very important. Then the rich societies should have more compassion for the poor and for the poor societies. Now the world is in big trouble because the rich countries have no compassion for the poor countries, and poor countries are more and more in trouble. Now I had experience of living long time in poor countries. Now this epidemic will be not a disaster, such a disaster for the rich countries, but it can be incredible disaster and already happening in poorer countries. They have no means to protect themselves. We have means to protect ourselves, but yet we are so critical, we are so fearful, we are so self-possessed, but we don't see actually that this difference between the poor countries and the rich countries, and in the societies between the poor and the rich, it is only feeding the negativity. And the negativity is growing because everybody, we live in the one world, one village, everybody knows what is going on. Now in these poor countries, they know exactly how much people earn in Hong Kong, how much the people earn in America, but they earn, if it was 5 times less, it's still wonderful. If it is 10 times less, it's still wonderful. They earn 30, 40, 50 times less, 60 times less. And they have to feed a big family. So, what to do? Breed more children? Endless cycle? The more children, the poor families who cannot protect themselves, because they have no other way to survive than to produce more children. At least 1 of the 10 will find some work. So by our insensitivity, we are actually creating more and more troubles in the world. Then these epidemics, again, they will hit the unprivileged ones. they will not hit so hard the privileged ones. So this is the challenge, to have more love and compassion for our brothers and sisters. The obsession with one's own needs, with blindness to the needs of others. So this is a very bad development. So these negative things which are happening, I hope they will turn to the positive. Everything negative, as the Chinese philosophy says, has the seeds of the positive. Everything positive has the seeds of the negative. So let us hope for the best, that this epidemic will be water for the seeds of the positive, and that people will be more involved in positive thinking, starting with love and compassion. Omitobo. Because of awareness, I have mentioned that. Awareness in Buddhism means wisdom or insight. The Sanskrit word is sampajanya, or Pali word sampajanya, means putting things together by wisdom. Now, because we are unable to put things together by wisdom, therefore we are obsessed by what we want to see, what we want to hear, what we want to smell, what we want to taste, and especially with what we want to touch, possess, sex, and so on. Then our society is feeding us with that, and the people lose awareness. Awareness is something which opens the heart. If we don't have awareness, our heart is closed. So we don't see our own needs, and we are completely blind to the needs of others, because we don't see our own needs. Actually, we have just spoken, the happiness comes from heart, comes from mind. It the aggression does not come from outside, it comes from inside. But we always see it from outside. The fear does not come from outside, it comes from inside. The uncertainty does not come from outside, it comes from inside. So what is the advantage of learning Buddhism? Buddhism, as opposed to other religions, teach that everything comes from mind. No matter what Buddhism we learn, this is the first principle. All that we experience comes from mind. We are in control of the mind, the world is in control of the mind. So rather than searching for happiness outside, if we want to learn real Buddhism, we have to search for happiness in our mind. When we can find something ourselves, we can share it with others. And this is same for us, same for our family, same for our groups, society. If we find something positive in ourselves, we can share it with others. But if we don't find anything positive in our side, what will we share? Right? So, we have to start searching for something positive in ourselves. Everybody, if you study Buddhism, has the seed of the positive in the heart. Even if we have aggression, even if we have worries, even if we have we are taking drugs, we are taking alcohol, we are miserable, we are obsessed with all kinds of fears and uncertainties, we have something positive, seeds of the positive in the heart. Now, the difference between the wise person and us is that the wise person sees these seeds of the positive in the heart, but most of us are blind to it and only see the negative. So instead of giving hope to the people, we give them more uncertainty, more fear. Instead of giving love to others, we only feed them with more worries and more depressions. So we should see very clearly that how we feel relates to others. The others, if you are sensitive, you don't need any supernatural powers. You can feel exactly what the emotions the others have, and how you relate to others also depends how you relate to yourself. Unless you have positive relation to yourself, you will never have positive relation to others. And how to find the positive relation to oneself? To develop better habits. Finally, we are nothing but our habits. Our habits is our karma. And our karma depends on how we use our emotions, our feelings, our heart. That is our karma. And it can change. But we need to develop positive emotions, positive feelings, positive sensations. Then we can feel more happiness inside, and we can share more with others. Right? Do you believe that? Okay. Well, in Buddhist philosophy, the seat of thinking is in the heart. The seat of mind is in the heart. And this heart in the northern tradition is called the alaya. And but in the Theravada philosophy it is called bhavanga. The Theravada even thinks that the seat of heart is like a nerve system is in the heart. The heart controls the brain. Normally we always think that the brain controls the heart, but actually the heart controls the brain, and the brain is controlled by our habits. It is not that that brain controls our habits. Our habits control the brain. Now the neurological research is showing, even science showing very clearly, that our brain is formed by our habits. How we relate to ourselves and how we relate to others, the form, structure of our brain. So when we use the body in a different way, the brain will also change. The neurons will also change. And same with the mind. If we use the mind in a different way, the heart will change. And the heart, according to Buddhism, the mind differentiates according to feeling, to sensation. If sensation means a reception of the object. So whenever we distinguish something, sensation is already there. I like it, I don't like it, and I neither like it nor dislike it. Now, the difference between the sage and the one who is deluded is that the deluded ones completely identify with these dislikings, and neither liking nor disliking. The sage sees them as not being the real self. because he sees them as not being the real self, he can detach. But a common man cannot detach. Because he cannot detach, he cannot be happy. Because the pleasant sensation will not last long. Even the most pleasant sensation, most intimate pleasant sensation will not last long. If he holds to it, he will be frustrated. When he is frustrated, he will identify with his frustration. Then he will go for alcohol, he will go for drugs, because he doesn't find anything that satisfies him. In my days, when I was teenager, we used to sing the rock and roll. What was it? I can't get no satisfaction. And I try. There was a song in my young days. What was this group called? Puchang?
Rolling Stones.
The Rolling Stones, yeah. I can't. So this is the fact. When you identify with the sensations, you can never get the satisfaction. You can get only satisfaction when you detach from sensation. And that is the secret of Buddhist philosophy, of non-self. The sensations are based on our previous desires. Because of our previous desires, we are holding to what we believe to be pleasant, what we believe to be unpleasant. But these things always change. The most desirable object becomes the most unpleasant object, and the most unpleasant object can become again the most desirable object. If the most undesirable object again laughs at us, then it becomes again the most desirable object. So we are, so to say, in a turmoil of emotions. No stability. No stability creates negativity. The opposite of negativity is positivity. Positivity is created by stability in emotions. If we become slaves of them, we lose our stability. When we lose our stability, we become more and more negative. So the stability is based on what? According to Buddhism, on awareness. That is wisdom. When you are aware, you don't identify with your endless wishes. Endless desire to enjoy this, to enjoy that, to want this, to want that. You will able to watch it instead of identifying with it. And this is wisdom. The wisdom is being aware. Everybody has habits. We are controlled by the habits. We are habits. But when you are aware of your how the habits control us, you will be also aware how the habits control others. Then you tolerate and remove your bad habits by cultivating good habits. And then you can also encourage others, because you can be example. This is for your family. If how you bring happiness into your family by cultivating good habits in yourself. The children, they experience everything what their parents experience. They know exactly what the mother thinks. They know exactly what the father thinks. When they see that they sing in a positive way, they are happy. When they see them thinking in a negative way, they become also depressed. And the better habits start cultivating, by more love, more compassion, more joy, more equanimity, then we will be able to make ourselves more stable, more aware, and we will bring stability and awareness to others too. So naturally we will be more generous, more disciplined, more tolerant. Then we can use the energy we have for cultivating real virtues, which in Buddhism is all based on wisdom and concentration. Yes, our education system, I don't think it's much better in Hong Kong. I can only talk about my own country. Our education system is in deep trouble. So the education is very important. Actually, Buddhism is a way of education. We should use Buddhism to educate others in more positivity, and we should bring this positivity into education in schools. Be instead of being obsessed by getting more money, more education to become a better consumer. So we should try to create education which creates better human beings with better habits, with more love and compassion, with more tolerance, with the moral attitude, and with ability to face difficulties rather than whenever there is a trouble, then blaming others. So the education is the crucial thing. And our world is in big trouble, of course, also because our education is in big trouble. Our education is not based on love and compassion. Our education is based on competitivity for more consumption, and for people becoming instruments. Now this is your background, education background. The Confucius says the gentleman can never be an instrument. Lun Yi. And so we have to have education to find positivity in ourselves, not to be just instrument. So if Buddhism can influence, or Taoism also very wonderful, Confucianism, if it can influence again the education, modern education, it is very crucial for the better society. But it has to be not Buddhism or Confucianism or Taoism empty, but it has to be with wisdom. And the wisdom is difficult to find. If those who teach it don't have wisdom, then of course people are not interested. And now very often it is so. Even that is, even Buddhism is served as like consumption article. Ancient philosophies also is consumption article. Christianity also is consumption article. So the education is in trouble. Where a monastery should represent a place of peace. This is what the monastery's function is. So you should yourself be part of this peace and try to bring this peace to your family, to the close ones, then the monastery will have its real function. We are very privileged to live in such a place, in such a city like Hong Kong. This place is like an oasis of peace. And so we should make ourselves maximum from it, and we should also share it with others. Right? If we can, we should try. So we should be really appreciative we can live in such a place with these positive energies, where we don't need to do much. Nobody is chasing us. So we can relax more and be more relaxed at home. Isn't it wonderful? But relax doesn't mean to be sleepy. It means to be active, but not excessive activity. Excessive activity makes people aggressive and nervous. Most of us are engaged in excessive activity, which is not needed. But we think it is very needed. Why? Because we have uncertainty. Actually, we need very little to survive and to be happy. These our many desires make us blind. And because we are blind, we have no awareness. And because we have no awareness, we have no happiness, no wonder. Because the happiness depends on awareness. We are not alone in this world. Everything we have depends on others. Well, this is a very good question. Now we cannot be too demanding. We have to accept the situation as it is and be positive about it. So we have to start where we are. If we are a monk, then we have to start with our Sangha. If we are laymen, we have our family, we have our jobs, and we have to start there. And we have no much power to influence, because we are not a pope, we are not a president, but we can reform our habits to cultivate good things in us. And if everybody starts thinking in this perspective, things will change, and the presidents will change, and the societies will change, and the popes will change, and the Dalai Lamas will change. Why? Because there is no Buddha without the Buddhists, there is no Christ without the Christians. And the Buddha was born in a society which needed Buddha. That's why he was born there. Christ was born also in a society which needed Christ. That's why he was born there. So we can only, according to the society, the person will arise to be able to influence the society. So we can influence our society because we have different conditionings, and in the time of Buddha, almost everybody was meditating. That's why when they heard the words of the Buddha, they thought, this is it, and this is the meaning of life. In the time of Jesus Christ, same. People were, most of the society were searching for the fulfillment of heart. The material fulfillment was secondary. So these people could influence so much of the society. Now most of us only think about the material things, so we have to start with little, no other way. But still we can influence a lot. See this, what's her name, this Greta from Sweden, the little girl, she could inspire the millions, just a teenager, because of her goodwill and because people are ready and see the need for change. So we have to believe we can bring a lot of positivity. But we have to start somewhere. And where? Where we are, nowhere else we can start. She also started in her school. When, instead of going to school, she went to parliament and sat there. And people starting taking notice. Why? Because in these modern societies, most of the people becoming aware that this attitude towards the world is can only bring negativity. So she came in the right moment and could influence the right people. So we also have to find the right time to influence the right people.